Guilty Gear Strive, the latest entry in Arc System Works' fighting game franchise, released last week. I've been playing the game during the week so I can review it for you guys. But before I want to start, I just want to preface this with a couple of things. First of all, I'm not a huge fighting game player. Like many of you probably realised, I do play Dragon Ball FighterZ a lot, which is of course a fighting game, but I started playing that game more for my love of the franchise than for my love of fighting games per se. And like I have played other fighting games such as Tekken or Mortal Kombat and Marvel vs. Capcom, stuff like that in the past, but not to a degree where I'd consider myself a fighting game player. Second thing I want to mention is that Guilty Gear Strive is the first Guilty Gear game I have ever played, so just bear that in mind, that this review is coming from the perspective of someone new to the franchise who's got like some knowledge of fighting games, but I'm still somewhat of a casual player. With all of that said, I'm loving Strive so far, to be honest. The reason I wanted to do a week 1 impressions video as opposed to just dropping a review the day the game came out is because I wanted to spend some time getting familiar with the game to be able to properly form an opinion on it. The game comes with the usual fighting game options of an offline mode where you can play against the CPU in arcade mode or just a standalone battle, as well as the usual 2-player mode. It also has a survival mode where you can fight waves of enemies and try to survive as long as you can. And of course there's training mode, which includes a basic tutorial, more advanced tutorial missions, and your standard training mode just to practice in, which in itself is very detailed and allows you to tweak like all kinds of different settings to further enhance your practice sessions. It also has online mode where you can play against players from all around the world, either in a casual match or a ranked match, using the game's ranked floor system, which you will rise to different floors the more matches you win. I quite like this floor system because it lets you fight anyone in a floor above you. If you're feeling brave enough, you want the challenge, you can go to any floor above the floor you're currently on, but it does not let you go down to any floor below yours, which means you can't go and stomp on newbies basically, which is like obviously a good thing. The game also has story mode, which is essentially an animated movie made in the game's engine, as well as a really in-depth glossary of Guilty Gear lore, which is good for anyone wanting to learn more about the lore of the franchise. The game is a lot of fun, it really is, and I'm really enjoying it so far, but it is not without its flaws. Obviously, no game is perfect, but I'll get to the flaws in a minute. First, let's have a look at what the game does right. So Guilty Gear Strive is beautifully animated. Arc Sys are known for their unique style of design in anime fighters, and with Strive they've clearly pushed the limit of what they can do in terms of animation. It is by far the best looking fighter game I have ever seen. Every character, every stage, every special attack, they're all intricately designed and just overall it looks amazing. The game also has like the best online experience I've ever seen or experienced in a fighting game, as it uses rollback netcode, which allows for really smooth connections with people even across continents. So for a fighting game to feel like you're playing offline when you're playing online is an amazing experience and definitely needs to be commended. Strive is also very accessible to newcomers like myself. Some veterans have said that the oversimplification of the systems in the game is a bad thing. As someone who, as I mentioned earlier, I haven't played previous titles, I can't comment on that, but I can say that as a newcomer the game feels welcoming, so to speak. Like it has a high skill ceiling but a low skill floor, and it provides you with a lot of in-depth tutorials to help you learn all the different mechanics of the game. So doing the tutorial missions provided in the game helped me learn a lot about how everything works, from offense to defense and everything in between. Even just pausing the game and looking at your command list to see what each character's buttons do gives you a really detailed explanation of what the moves are meant to do, and even includes a little video player showing what that move should look like. And yeah, overall it does a great job at helping newbies such as myself learn all the intricacies. So the game's got a roster of 15 characters on release, and a further 5 are going to come later on as DLC characters, and I do have to praise how unique each character feels. Not only in their like awesome designs, but in how they play. No two characters play the same. They each have their own style, their own feel, and as someone who comes from Dragon Ball FighterZ, which many players have rightly accused of being quite homogenous in its roster, it's refreshing to see so much character individuality. I personally like the newcomer Nagariyuki the most, but whether you're looking for a rushdown character, a grappler, a mix-up centric character, or just a balanced all-rounder, the roster will have something for you. I also really want to praise the soundtrack. All the music for the game was written by Daisuke Ishiwatari, who's the game's creator, and he honestly wrote some absolute bangers. Like my personal favourites are Leo's, Potemkin's and Chip's theme tunes. They're just, yeah, great tunes. Now on to the things I didn't like. Loading times. So I played the game on a PS5, so loading times in terms of the console itself are practically non-existent, but obviously the game's got to communicate with the online servers, and communicating with a server takes ridiculous amounts of time. No exaggeration, it can easily take you 3 minutes just to get from the title screen to the main menu of the game. And I'm not even talking about getting into a match, just from when it says press any button to when you're on the main menu of the game can take up to 3 minutes, which is it's a joke, absolute joke. The online system is also butt cheeks, to be honest. They try to go for this sort of cutesy pixel animated lobby where you've got your little avatar running around, but the whole system is just unnecessarily convoluted, and it's plagued with constant errors where it fails to match you with the player and things like that. Apparently these issues are even worse on PC. I haven't played a game on PC, so I can't say for sure, but I've heard that these issues are even worse. And yeah, I also don't like the fact that training mode doesn't show you any frame data. Any fighting game player will tell you frame data is important to know, so you can know what moves are safe on block, how slow or fast the move is to come out, all of that stuff, just to be able to properly learn your block strings and things like that. For some reason, Arxis didn't include this at launch, which is kind of baffling, but they didn't include a frame data viewer with fighters at launch. They added it later on, so presumably they'll add it later on to this game, but like, I don't understand why not just include it in the base game. Now, I know most, if not all of these gripes will most likely be fixed further down the line, but seeing as this is a video about my week 1 impressions of the game, I thought it's only fair for me to address the issues with the game in its current state. So obviously they'll fix it eventually, but currently this is the way the game is. Now, none of these flaws or gripes are enough for me to stop from playing and enjoying the game, and I do think Strive is definitely an amazing game. If you're a fan of fighting games, you should 100% check this game out. If you're not a fan of fighting games, but you like the look of this game, then you should also check it out, because the game will help you learn all the basics that you need to learn, regardless of your experience or lack thereof with the genre. So let us know in the comments what you think of Guilty Gear Strive. I've been Z, and you've been watching Zoned Live.